Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? A gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do, and you know why I do it. It's Tuesday morning. It's April 8th, and it is 2:42 in the a.m. I have a ton of stuff to do. I mean, a ton of stuff. So I'm going to try to be brief with my recordings, which I can tell you this one is not going to be. I'm trying to be succinct with my recordings as best I can, but I have some very heavy messages for you today, and I hope it gives you the opportunity to reflect on a couple, two, three things and just really, I don't know, I don't want to say wake up. Now, I've gotten away from, I want to say, intense ministry, and by that I mean I've gotten away from, reading my devotionals and interpreting what they mean to me and interpreting scripture, and gotten more on a social justice platform. I'm going to say today is no different, but I'm seriously going to give you food for thought, and I'm going to give you another video that's a little bit more scripture leaning. But for right now, I want you to think about this. Not too long ago, I revisited some movies that I watched as a kid, and they were what was considered blaxploitation movies, in that, they were a genre specifically for a black audience. Some of them were historical context, but a lot of them were just, fictitious action heroes from the hood, the streets. I just needed to see some black superheroes, which leads me to revisiting a conversation that I had with somebody two people actually, who said, we need a leader. And I keep questioning this mentality. You are the leader. Why are you looking for someone else to guide? We need to step up and be a voice. Why are you looking for somebody else? Why are you waiting? Bottom line. Because you'll always be waiting. Because we'll always create reasons why we can't do something, or why it's not our job. And this is a prime example. That being said, I want to say that death has a way of bringing about life. And I go to the scripture, I came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And, as I've shared, I've suffered some hard losses in the past 3 years. That being said, my sense of mortality is my catalyst also to get things right. That loss was a seed for more action. That loss, or those losses, were, I won't say the prompting, to be the seed. I want you to think about that, how death brings about life. Even in the sense of Christianity, death brings about life. And as I was thinking in this context, I went to the movie, The Autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman. And the question, you guys need to see that. If you haven't, and if you have, you need to revisit the movie in order to put this in its proper context. there's a question posed by Jane as she goes through life. And the question is you the one? Now, you know I say that things have more emphasis. That's emphasis, y'all. When you say it grammatically incorrect. Is you the one? And I'm sure many people were asking that question of Christ when he began his ministry at the age of 12. People knew of a Messiah. People were expecting a Messiah. But people also questioned the Messiah. And this is going to lead to my next video, but I want you to pay attention. Is you the one? Now, in asking these questions, Jane, who was a former slave and who shared her story throughout life, and people witnessed her experiences, you know, she was posing the question to see who was going to be the seed, who was going to lift the next generation, who was going to pave the way. You know, are you the one? Or are you going to sit back and sit on your hands and wait for a leader? Are you going to sit back and keep your mouth closed and wait for a leader? Are you going to sit and refuse to walk because you're waiting on the leader? My question to you is, then when does anything get done? For those of you who are not into movies, the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman was written by Ernest Gaines, so you can maybe download the book, go to the library and get the book, go to the bookstore and buy the book. You know, how many of us still read? And that's how you find your voice as well. You recognize those who have gone before you. You look for the virtues that they're displaying. Now, they may not always be right in their actions, but there's some virtue in that action. And that's what we tend to forget. You know, our pride causes us to defocus on things. Is you the one? I want you to think about that. You know, there were 3 really major points in this movie or this book. One, when Jane asked the question, she was talking to a young man who was trying to find his place in the world. 2, when she had to make a decision, she had to pose the question to herself, is this the right decision? Then 3, when she was able to find a sense of resolve, she was finally able to say, this is my time. And again, I'm going back to the statement, we need a leader. And I'm posing the question, is you the one?